Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I have what I think will be a pretty quick video today. We're going to do a card for a girlfriend of mine, and we're going to be using Waffle Flower's Birdie Friends In Winter die and the stencil set. And we will also be using one of the sentiments from Inside Out Thinking of You from Catherine Pooler Designs. So it's just a nice soft winter card, and let's get started. Alright, so to get started, I cut out all of the images out of cardstock and then placed them back in the negative and then started stenciling, because that was I did it once without doing this, and when I was stenciling the eyes were all kaflooey. So I learned my lesson and die cut first and then stenciled, and it worked wonderfully. So my plan here, these Waffle Flower stencils are wonderful, and they say light and they give you color suggestions on them. They are so helpful because they want it to be right from the first time you start. But I wanted the rainbow colors, so I wanted each bird to be monochromatic. So I'm kind of doing my own thing here. But if you look at the packaging on Waffle Flower, the birds they created were just adorable. So finishing up with these, and I do 2 sets of the exact same. And I think I ended up only needing 1 extra, but I have a few extra birds now to make a card. So I'm just ink blending. I think you can see all the colors from Catherine Pooler. Now we're going to get the scarves on, and then we do the eyes. But I used, let me think here, Apricot and Bellini on the peach-looking bird, In the Park and Aquatini on the greenish teal, It's a Girl and Be Mine on the pink, and Oh Boy and Something Borrowed on the blue bird. So now I am just adding the finishing touches onto the scarf, and then we will go to the eyes. And like I said, the first time I did this, this is where it made a mess, and I was so upset because that was my last step. And here they were perfect. So now I'm coloring the beaks. With the die set, there comes an extra set of beaks, so it's something that adds dimension but doesn't cause a problem when you're mailing. So coloring the beaks with Copic markers. Y17 and Y38 are the Copic markers I used on the beaks. And then I'm going to Copic marker color a couple extra hats because I wanted most of the birds to be wearing a hat. So I used B24 and B26 on this hat, plus C2 and C00 on the edges of the fur of the hat, or the trim of the hat, to make it look gray. And now I'm trying to figure out what greens I wanted to use, so I took out my Copic hex chart, and now I'm picking out the greens. So G16, and I used G17 to color the green hat. Just blending that out. And now I'm going to color the tree branch. And I actually ended up doing 2 tree branches, and I'm doing E59 all over the whole thing. And then I think I come in with E49 and go along the edges. And then I'll come back in with the E59 and just blend that really quick. So very easy, basic coloring. And then going around the edges of the branch so it looks finished on all sides. Okay, so now that the birds are done, we're going to glue the beaks on. And it adds so much, and it's just a slight bit of dimension. And there was a stencil for it, but I didn't need to use it since I was coloring the beaks. And then we'll add the hats on to the other 2 birds. So now I'm taking some colored pencils just because I was in a coloring mood. No, by no means do you need to do it. The ink blended beautifully on these, so there was no need to add this. I just felt like coloring. So I'm just showing you what I did on the blue one. I took a dark blue and went around the shady areas, and then I took a medium blue and blended that out. And then I went back in with a light blue and blended that out, and then just came in with a dark blue again and did it all the same things all over again. So I did that to all the birds. So there's the dark, coming in with the medium and blending it out, and there's the light, blending it out. And when I color with colored pencils, I do teeny tiny little circles. I don't do lines, I do circles. And so now I'm doing it with the green. Same thing, dark, medium, and light. And then for some of it, I didn't like how the light blended. So I went and found my white polychromos and used that to blend everything, which is a wonderful way to blend it. So rosy cheeks on the green, and then here's my pink. So for the pink, I used Madder Lake, dark flush, and light magenta. And then for the apricot one that I haven't colored yet, I used medium flesh, light flesh, and cinnamon. For the green, and I cannot pronounce it, I think it's called phthalo green and light phthalo green. And then for the blue, I used phthalo blue, middle phthalo blue, and light phthalo blue. So those are the polychromos I used. And so now I'm making the background. And I'm using snow cone cardstock, and I did that because I wanted these colors to be not as vibrant because it's a winter evening scene. So using my bigger brushes to get that lighter feel, and because we've got the blue background, the colors are not as deep and saturated and bright. They're just a little bit mellower. I feel like that really worked great. So doing a little back and forth blending. And so the colors for the background were Dress Blues was the dark blue, and then Flirty Fuchsia was the purpley one, Pucker Up, and then Cummerbund were the 4 colors on the background. And then it's got a snow because it's a winter card, and I'm in Minnesota. So we used Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White and added quite a bit of water because I wanted big globby snowflakes, like the ones we were having the day I was making this. And so now we've got a snowy background. So that's how I decided to lay out the birds. You can see I took a red one. I made a red one too. And so now I'm stamping the sentiment, and that sentiment is from Catherine Pooler, and it's from the Inside Out Thinking of You stamp set. And that has all kinds of wonderful greetings in it. So I heat set that, and now we're putting the card together. So I did make 2 branches so that I would have enough branches for all the birds to sit on. Figured out my layout, and we will get that attached. So the pink, the blue, the apricot, and the green you watched me make. And then when I did the first time and everything failed, the only one that turned out was the red one that I'm using. So that's why that one's on the card. So getting all my birds attached. All right, and then adding that to the card base. And I did trim it off 1/4 inch all the way around. So we'll let that dry. Now I am adding little stars from Studio Katya. And I know they're out of business, but I still need to use them up. So it just adds a cute little shimmer onto the card. Because you know how at night when you turn the backyard light on and it's snowing, the snow sparkles as the light hits it? That's kind of what I was looking for. All right, so here's the card we made together. Really quick, relaxing. I mean, I know I was a little extra using the colored pencils, but I just really wanted to color. I just really wanted to relax. So very happy with how this turned out. This is going to a girlfriend that's going through a hard time right now, and she lives about 5 hours away. So to create this, I used the dies, Birdie Friends In Winter die from Waffle Flower, and the stencil from Waffle Flower. But the die, you could just cut it out and then ink blend over it, you know, dark to light. If you wanted to do that, that's something that you could do because the hats are separate. So you can ink blend over the hats separate colors if you wanted. You wouldn't have to have the stencil. But I did really enjoy using the stencil. And then it also comes with this little decoration on it right here, but didn't want to use it. I just really like the birds and the branches. And then I used Inside Out, Thinking of You from Catherine Pooler. And I used the Sending Warm Thoughts and Big Hugs. I like the two fonts on that. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.